I was taken in. And that's the price I paid for making that mistake.
Police say a father and son scammed an elderly couple out of $40,000. Some heated exchanges tonight as 10 of the Republican candidates for president gathered for their first debate.
Richmond's new city manager resigns from the position before he even shows up for his first day of work. I'll have details coming up.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 11.
Good evening to you. They were supposed to seal an elderly Scott County couple's driveway, but instead, police say a father and son ended up scamming them out of $40,000. The Scott County Sheriff's Office charged 52-year-old Jonathan Forbes Sr. and 24-year-old Jonathan Forbes Jr. with theft by deception. New tonight, Daryl Wiseman talks to one of the victims. It's our top story at 11.
The work on her driveway started in the spring.
And then to be used like that, which is what I was used.
It ended when the sheriff showed up at her door.
And the first thing he said was, "You're being scammed." And I thought, oh, God.
Investigators say Jonathan Forbes Sr. and Jonathan Forbes Jr. kept coming back to her driveway, running into problems that meant more work.
He was quite pushy, the young fellow.
A total of $40,000 for work deputies say should have cost less than $400. An expensive tab for this woman and her husband, a World War II veteran.
My husband has dementia, so he's not much help. And I don't think he realizes anything has gone on.
She asked that we not identify her or her home in any way for fear that others might also try to exploit her. Sheriff Tony Hampton says a worker at a local bank tipped them off to how much money the two men were bringing in from the job. Whoever helped her, this woman has a message for you.
I'm very appreciative of what you did. It was a very good thing to do. Thank you. Thank you very much.
She also has a warning for others. Get a second bid.
It's like somebody said to me, you're too trusting. And I guess that's what it is.
In Scott County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
The victim tells us investigators recovered the last check before it was cash. Forbes Sr. and Forbes Jr. are now at the Scott County Detention Center. Well, the heavy rain is finally winding down across Kentucky, and it looks like we are about to receive a break from all this wet weather. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has an early look at your forecast just in time for a Friday. Chris?
Yeah, things continuing to improve out there. That is certainly great news if you're making some outdoor plans over the next few days. The weather should be to your liking. You know things are better when we're leading with a temperature map out there. Those readings right now into most of central and eastern Kentucky dropping into the upper 60s to around the 70-degree mark. Here is Defender now, and we are dealing with much better weather across central and eastern Kentucky. The rains, those steady, soaking rains of today did not cause any renewed flash flood problems. Thankfully, we can thank some thunderstorms down into Tennessee for kind of helping us out with that. But overall, it is a drying trend that is setting in now across the Lexington metro. Still a shower or two into parts of eastern Kentucky, and those ongoing showers will carry us into early tomorrow morning. But that low pressure center continues to work its way slowly toward the southeast. It's weakening. Coming in behind that, pleasant weather, and that is going to roll on in to central and eastern Kentucky as we roll our way into your Friday. So out the door tomorrow morning, low 60s, still a leftover shower or two in eastern Kentucky. By the afternoon, everybody will break out into some sunshine, Amber, and those temperatures very nice. The temperatures, by the way, get even better next week. We'll track a September looking pattern when I come back in a few minutes.
All right, all of that sounds really good, Chris. Thank you. Tonight, 10 of the candidates seeking the Republican presidential nomination met for their first debate. Fox News hosted the debate in Cleveland, and the fireworks started right away with Donald Trump leaving open the possibility of running as a third-party candidate if he doesn't win the Republican nomination. Jacqueline Policastro has more on tonight's debate.
It's all about Spin Alley right now. The candidates are catching up with the media as they continue to fight for the party's nomination.
It was contentious, some people might say informative, and definitely entertaining. Some highlights from the candidates at the Republican primary debate.
And I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either.
I'm my own man. I govern as a conservative, and I govern effectively.
I defunded Planned Parenthood more than 4 years ago, long before any of these videos came out.
I've got a proposal. I'm the leading voice in America for not arming the allies of ISIS.
This election better be about the future, not the past. It better be about the issues our nation and the world is facing today, not simply the issues we once faced.
We balanced an $11 billion deficit on a $29 billion budget by cutting over 800 programs in the state budget. We brought the budget into balance with no tax increases.
Everybody across this country knows that the tsunami of drugs is threatening their very families. So we're treating them and getting them on their feet.
I will always tell the truth and do what I said I would do.
America became a great nation early on, not because it was flooded with politicians, but because it was flooded with people who understood the value of personal responsibility.
And we changed the policy to be pro-life and protect children instead of rip up their body parts and sell them like they're parts to a Buick.
It's likely one of the candidates who took the stage tonight will be back here again in Cleveland next year to accept the party's nomination. Until then, the debate continues. Reporting in Cleveland, Ohio at the Republican debate, I'm Jacqueline Policastro.
The Democratic candidates plan to hold their first debate in October. A large sinkhole has forced state transportation workers to shut down a southern Kentucky road. They say they first noticed the sinkhole opening up on Main Street in Monticello about 2 weeks ago, but workers think it's now 30 feet deep and 20 feet wide. They say the sinkhole opened up because of all the heavy rain we've received this summer.
We've just had an unusually, wet summer, and it's been an issue all across the state of Kentucky. We've seen a lot of sinkholes that's popped up.
Business owners nearby say the sinkhole is driving some of their customers away. State transportation workers think it will probably be at least 2 weeks before the road is repaired. Investigators have released the name of a man found dead in Clark County last week. They think Daryl Wiseman was murdered back in May. Last week, police arrested Roger Kinney in Ohio and charged him with murder. Today, Wiseman's aunt told our Kristen Kendi that he was independent, so that's why the family never reported him missing.
It was not uncommon for him to take off with a friend and not call for weeks at a time, or as long as 2 or 3 months.
She also says Wiseman and Kinney knew each other. Wiseman's family says they plan to bury him in the family cemetery once the investigation is complete. The Clark County Sheriff says he's not sure when Kinney will be brought back to Kentucky to answer to the murder charge. New tonight, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has added a Southern Kentucky man to its top 10 most wanted list. Police are looking for 39-year-old Benjamin Brewer of Laurel County. There's now a $1,000 reward for information leading to his arrest. Brewer has been charged with 6 counts of vehicular homicide. In June, police say Brewer's tractor-trailer crashed into 8 cars on Interstate 75 in Chattanooga. 6 people died in the crash. Police say Brewer was driving under the influence. A grand jury indicted Brewer earlier this week. He was just hired to be the Richmond city manager, but today Jimmy Hogg announced he's already resigning. It comes after the state auditor's office raised questions about how Hogg handled money while he was Somerset's budget director. New at 11, Monique Blair talks to Richmond's mayor about Hogg's resignation.
On Thursday morning, Jimmy Hogg, the man hired to start his job as Richmond's new city manager on Monday, resigned.
He thought it'd be the best interest for he and the city vote. I think he understands, and he was more in tune to feel like that it might be more pressure and conflicting than it would be worth. So we just wish him the best.
Hogg resigned after a special examination by State Auditor Adam Edlin was made public. According to the Richmond Register, one of the auditor's 29 findings says Hogg, Somerset's former budget director, misused about $3,000 worth of city money in 2010, and the city never made him pay it back. Now the city of Somerset is suing State Auditor Edlin, claiming he didn't have the legal authority to examine the city, also claiming his examination was arbitrary and capricious in violation of Section 2 of the Kentucky Constitution. Edlin released a statement in response to that lawsuit saying, in part, "Our examination found the city generally ignored city policies and ordinances, if they existed at all, and made spending and management decisions without proper oversight or accountability. Richmond Mayor Jim Barnes says now that the city manager position is once again open, the top candidates who previously qualified will be reviewed again.
Probably what we do is we'll go and get maybe the top 20, 25 applicants, and this time we'll probably just have the Board of Commissioners, myself, and maybe a couple employees go through and screen those applicants.
In Richmond, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Hogg was one of 96 applicants who originally applied for Richmond's city manager position. New tonight, a courtroom outburst could land a Harlan County man in even more legal trouble. 58-year-old Cletus Robbins Jr. received a 25-year prison sentence yesterday for kidnapping, robbery, and assault. But during the sentencing, Robbins started using profanity at the assistant Commonwealth's attorney, so the prosecutor asked the judge to make him stop. But as you'll see in this video, Robbins kept going.
Don't. Hey, now none of that. Hey, none of that. Now just calm down.
Yeah. You calm down.
You take it easy.
You're court here.
Listen, buddy, I'm too old for this.
Hey, I'm too old for this too.
Prosecutors also say Robbins spit at them. They say he could face more charges for what happened in court yesterday. New tonight, a fourth person charged in a Bourbon theft case has pled guilty in Franklin County. Our news partners at the Herald-Leader report Dusty Adkins admitted to an amended charge of criminal conspiracy to receive stolen property. A grand jury indicted 9 people in April on charges connected to the theft of more than $100,000 in bourbon from the Wild Turkey and Buffalo Trace distilleries. In court, Adkins admitted he was a middleman for Gilbert Kurtzinger, the man police say was the ringleader. Tonight, the Franklin County Sheriff's Office says a Facebook post calling on drug dealers to turn each other in is working. We first told you about that post Monday night at 11, and since then, the sheriff says his office has received tips because of it. One of the tips led deputies to a home where they say they found marijuana, cocaine, money, and handguns inside. Deputies arrested Terrell Jackson and Anita Waddell. The sheriff says the tips are still coming in.
So we've made it hot on them. And at the end of the day, that's a success. And you know, if that was all we did, that's huge.
Court workers say a judge released Jackson and Waddell on their own recognizance, but they'll be in court next month. With schools set to start in Fayette County next week, one company is helping make sure students return in style. Students showing up to orientation tonight at Booker T. Washington received a surprise. Amazon was on hand to host a back-to-school party. Students were given a new backpack loaded with all the supplies they need to hit the books this year. Fayette County's new superintendent was on hand. Manny Kalk says partnerships like this are crucial.
Well, I believe it takes an entire community to ensure the success of our public schools. And part of that community is the business sector and having great, not just good, but great corporate partners.
Well, today it's about the kids. So it's about the community, being corporate citizens and making sure we are promoting our youth and providing opportunities for the future for the kids.
Amazon employees say they are proud to live and work in Lexington, and giving back is part of their presence in the community. Well, some of the foods, products, and services in the Bluegrass were on display tonight in Lexington. The Herald-Leader threw its first Reader's Choice celebration at the Grand Reserve. It honored those who came out on top in the recent Reader's Choice Awards in the paper. Tonight's event benefited the National Multiple Sclerosis Society.
This is our first one, but we'll be doing it again about the same time next year with the Herald, and we want people to come out and enjoy.
More than 60,000 votes were cast for this year's Reader's Choice Awards.